My 4-Summer Plan by Ava Moore. To start my 4 Summers project for the summer of 2026, I'm going to be staying local, as my brother has an internship in LA and I have a lot of college preparation stuff I need to be doing. For college preparation stuff, I have my orientation for USC in 2 weeks, and I move in at the end of August 19th to be exact. I have a lot of stuff I need to do to prepare. As for the Wisconsin trip, I'm planning to go out at some point in July, and this is just a trip that I've taken almost every single summer, and since I have a house there, the only expenses would be flight and food. As for working, I have a job as a hostess at Joey's restaurant, which is just a nice paying job that covers expenses and builds the kind of communication and customer facing skills every business career needs. I'm also planning on being a camp counselor at a summer camp called Hume Lake, and I'll be doing this for a week in July, and it's in the Sierra Nevadas, and it's just it's a genuine leadership experience where I'll be mentoring kids. It's a good thing to show on a resume that goes beyond just a standard corporate internship. And this for the summer of 2027, my main goal is to go on a global brigades trip and just really network. I'm also interested in running the Midnight Sun Marathon in Norway and kind of making a short trip out of that occasion. And if I'm unable to get the global brigades trip, backup plan is to work. One opportunity I'm interested in during the summer of 2027 is the USC Marshall's Global Brigades program. Global Brigades is a week-long service learning experience where students travel to countries like Panama, Honduras, and Ghana and work with local entrepreneurs to help improve their businesses through marketing, finance, operations, and accounting strategies. Students apply through USC Marshall during the fall semester, and the program typically costs around $2,000 to $3,000, which my main goal for networking is to get into clubs and hopefully get an internship. USC is known to have a really strong alumni network system, so I hope to fully utilize that. So far, I've talked in person with Sean Hyatt, a professor at USC. He actually gave a presentation at our admitted students. So I'm at the gym and went up to him, and in the top right corner is an email that he sent me containing advice from a girl who recently graduated from Marshall in finance and has a job in private equity. The email on the left is an email I sent to a club at USC called the Trojan Investing Society, where I asked what they were really recommending I do as a freshman to eventually hopefully get into their capstone program. A trip that I'd want to take this summer is to Tromsø, Norway, to actually compete or do the Midnight Sun Marathon. I love running, and one thing I've always wanted to do is run a marathon, especially one in a different country. And so there's a marathon in Norway called the Midnight Sun Marathon in the summer, and in the summer, Tromsø has the midnight sun with long bright days and nights where the sun never sets. So if I'm able to do this marathon, I'd want to make a trip out of it, as I've never really been to Norway before. And for my first day there, I found that they have a Norwegian history and food tasting tour, and so I'd want to do that. And then also kayaking, which is shown in the top right, as they have a lot of events going on late at night due to the midnight sun. For my second day, I plan to do a sweet treat walk where you walk through the town and go to local places and try their desserts, because I want to do this because I have a really big sweet tooth, and this is something I know I'd like. The third day is when I'd run the marathon, but since the marathon is at midnight, it starts at 8:30, and I'd have the whole entire day before to just go out and explore. The fourth day, since it's post-marathon, I thought it would be a good idea to go, and they have floating saunas on the lake, so I'd probably do that. And then I have a price breakdown in the bottom right corner. The trip comes out to around $3,000, and it's mostly so expensive due to the travel and flight tickets. If I'm unable to get into the Global Brigades trip, my backup plan would be to work at Hume Lake for the summer. This is something I've always wanted to do, and I feel like the summer after my freshman year would be the best summer to do so. I'd work as a lifeguard, and for the summer of 2028, my main goal is to get into and go on the Excel International Experience trip. USC Marshall's Excel International Experiential Corporate Learning Program is a flagship program where students work with global companies on real business challenges abroad. This is exactly the kind of differentiator that sets USC apart in IB and consulting recruiting. I'll apply during sophomore year, and getting in requires a strong GPA, a faculty recommendation, and a thoughtful essay, all things I'll be working toward throughout my first years. My brother did a trip similar to this at the beginning of this summer where he went to Taiwan, and he found it to be really impactful, so this is something I definitely want to do. Cost-wise, this would cost $4,500. For the summer of 2029, my main goal is to go on a Swiss Alps trip. My cousin did a very similar trip last year, and she really enjoyed it. And it's something that I've always been interested in doing, as I love being active, and hiking through the mountains seems like such a cool experience. My first 3 days would be spent at Zermatt. I'd get there by train from Geneva. In Zermatt, I plan to do a lot of hiking, as the views there are beautiful. The second day there, I plan to do the Riffelberg hike, shown in the top right, in the morning, and then the Five Lakes hike in the afternoon, shown in the bottom left. Next day, I plan to take the Matterhorn Express, and then the Glacier Ride cable car to Glacier Paradise, and then walk the panoramic viewing platforms shown on the top left, and then also do the Matterhorn Glacier Trail hike shown in the bottom right. In Interlaken, I take a 2.5 hour train ride from Zermatt to Interlaken, and then I plan to do the Lake Brienne's boat cruise, which is shown on the left, in the late afternoon. The next day, I plan to catch the funicular from behind Interlaken station and take it to Harderkolm, which is the top of Interlaken viewpoint, and it has a viewing platform overlooking both lakes and the Massif, which is shown in the bottom right. Later that afternoon, I want to go paragliding, shown in the top left. This is something I've never done before, and seeing that Interlaken is one of the world's top tandem paragliding destinations, I feel this would be the best place to do it. In Grindelwald, this is the busiest, most packed day of my trip, as I'm only spending one day there, but I plan to start early in the morning, taking a train from Interlaken to Grindelwald, and take the railway, which takes you through the mountain itself with windows cut into the rock face, looking out over the glacier. While there, I want to visit the Sphinx Observatory, which has a panoramic observation deck with views of the glacier, which is the longest glacier in the Alps, and then walk through the ice palace carved inside the glacier itself, shown on the right, and then also see the restaurant at the top of Europe, shown on the left. In Lucerne, I plan to take a 2 hour train ride to get to there, and I'm taking a lot of train rides because it's a really easy way to see all the views and just a good way to get around. The first day there, I plan to just explore the town and make sure I see the bridge, which is a symbol of the city. It's a 14th century covered wooden bridge over the river with painted scenes inside the roof trusses, shown on the left. The second day, I want to complete the Golden Round trip at Mount Pilatus, which is shown on the bottom right, and then you take a boat from Lucerne across the lake to Alpenstad, and then board the world's steepest cogwheel railway to Pilatus-Kolm. And then the views from the summit down to the lake and across the Alps are extraordinary, and at the top, I plan to walk the ridge to the Dragon Path viewing platform. And then I also want to visit the Aesher Cliff guest house, shown on the top right. For a price breakdown, the trip comes out to almost $7,000, which is very expensive for a single person, but I don't plan to take this trip alone. But also, this is so expensive, it is mostly due to the accommodations in the hotels that I found when researching.